So Anthropic just dropped their internal guide about how their Claude Code team use loops internally for the engineering work that they do. In this video, we're going to look at when to use loops and how they work so that you have a very clear picture. Let's get into it. So put simply, the easiest way to think about a loop at a high level is just that the agent is now taking care of a specific task until it is done in one way or another. For instance, if we look at our image on the left over here, when you're talking to just a simple chatbot, you type in something and you might get an answer back about whatever it is the question that you asked. But when we're talking to an agent, it's a little bit different because it's taking the context of whatever the question is that you asked, and then it will take action, verify the work that it's done, and it will repeat that until it thinks that the job is done. But of course, we can manipulate that in as many ways as we want to. And in this guide, we're going to look at a few of those ways. Anthropic classify their loops in 4 ways internally. They have turn-based, goal-based, time-based, and proactive. And you can see the further we go up the scale, the more autonomous the agent becomes, to the point where it's almost like an AI employee. If we look a little bit deeper into the turn-based loop, which is the first one that they define, you can see that it's very familiar to how you might already be using Claude now. We are currently the constraint in this turn-based loop over here because we're typing in something or setting off a skill and then hitting enter, and Claude goes out there and achieves its goal. You're going to hear a lot of the term definition of done or working towards that definition of done in this video, as you might have in some of my other ones. The whole point here is that you always need to provide Claude the ability to understand what good looks like. It's very important from a context engineering perspective, but if you don't do that, it's never going to know how to do the thing that you do, in which case the loop itself would never work. So with our turn-based loop, we are using Claude how we normally would. We might provide it a skill.md over here so that it knows exactly what to work to with each step that we provide it. And then it will verify the work that it has done. It checks the results to make sure that it matched against the goal of the skill.md file. And then after checking, it might repeat this, do the next turn, or you might have to hit enter and have another conversation with it. The point is here, it is iterative, it is turn-based. There is no form of automation behind the turn. The second classification that they have is a goal-based loop. And this is literally giving Claude a goal, or this definition of done, and saying, go and do this by X number amount of tries until this thing is done. When it comes to using goal, it's very important that we actually set some kind of stop criteria here. Otherwise, this thing can just run on for ages, and obviously that can burn through tokens. And if it's running on an API, that can actually increase your costs. But you can see the wheel itself doesn't really change. We still have the gather context, take action, verify work, and repeat. We're now just doing it over and over again until we get to a specific point. Something else that's very important to note here is that we have a separate judge in the picture. You can see on the bottom right over here, we have a different model that checks every single turn, because you absolutely do not want the same agent checking its own homework, because it can cheat that or gamify it to the point where it thinks that it's done the right thing, but it hasn't. So it's very important that we have a separate judge to grade the work that we've done as a part of this goal-based loop. Using it is really straightforward. You can just come into Claude Code, whether it's in terminal, VS Code, or inside the actual desktop app, and you just hit /goal. And you can see over here, after that, I would just type in whatever the hell it is that I want this thing to do. In terms of things that it would be good for, you don't necessarily want to give this a task where it is specifically taste-based. For instance, if we look at lead gen, there are 2 parts to that. There's the research phase of a really long lead list, but then there's also the phase where we would want it to write some form of DM to reach out to people based on the research that it's done. Now, if we had to go and get this thing to go through that initial list and research everyone and put it into nice files so that we can see all the information about them, it's going to be great at doing that. But when it comes down to actually writing the DMs for them, that's where it can get a little bit iffy, because what the AI thinks good is might not necessarily match your taste, because taste itself is more subjective. The way I reach out to people is completely different to the way someone else might, depending on the personality type, who you're reaching out to, and a ton of other variables. So the TLDR here on goal is that it's very good for that more deterministic work or that checking off work, but somewhere where there is the subjective piece, you're still going to need your human in the loop. Then Anthropic takes us to level 3, which is their time-based loop, and that is loop with a schedule. So with this thing, a timer kicks off whatever it is the task that we want. Again, our agent loop over here doesn't necessarily change, but what does change is the methodology of what kicks it all off. And you can see here, there are tons of different ways that we can use loops for our everyday workflows. If we have an inbox that constantly gets updated with something, we could have a loop that runs, say, checks your inbox every 10 minutes. Based on that, pulls out the latest email, does a bunch of research or whatever the thing is that you want done with the email. From there, it goes through its agentic loop, completes the task for you, job done. Same thing we could do for our daily intel brief that we get about all the news in the world out there. When the news gets posted online, our little loop runs, gathers that news. Once it's done that, it can take an action like actually writing a video script for you or a blog post, whatever it is that you would want to do with that information. Same thing for leads, but you get the point by now. And again, using this is really, really straightforward. All you do is flip back over to Claude and you could do something like loop. And you can see once you hit enter, it asks you for an interval and a prompt. So the first thing that we can do is just put in, let's say, 15 minutes. And then we could also just run one of our skills. Instead of having to type in a prompt, we could use something that we know works. So let's just take my AI news monitor. We could hit enter, and then this thing would go and run away in a loop. It might ask you some follow-up questions if it needs any more clarity. But the point is, this would be running locally. So your system always does need to be on, but there is a way to schedule this by using routines, which is another part of this process over here. I have a whole deep dive into this video. So if you want to learn how routines actually work, go and watch that video. The TLDR being that what we're doing here is this exact news monitor that just ran. We're no longer using it on our local machine. We use it on Anthropic's cloud. That way it doesn't matter whether our machine is on or not. You can see it's the exact same thing, runs daily at 10:18. You can change this interval much as you would with a normal loop. Then finally, they have the proactive loop, and this pretty much just mixes everything into one bag so that you can kind of get to the point where it's like an AI employee. For instance, we could have a schedule that monitors our Slack. Anytime something appears in a specific Slack channel that needs work, we could have that run through our routine into a goal. With that goal, it would have a very clear definition of done with perhaps a skill attached to it so that it knows what it needs to be working towards, and it will carry on doing that until that job is done and graded by that judge that we spoke about. That's very important for the goal itself. If we link that with auto mode and perhaps even dynamic workflows, you can really sprawl out these long-running tasks. For those of you who don't know what dynamic workflows are, I do have a whole separate video on that. But just to give you the TLDR, it's essentially a way of having mass agents run their own specific types of work on a workflow that you're trying to run. It could be deep research. It could also be several agents, all with their own persona, criticizing an offer that you might have, or even verifying the research that the other agents brought back. The point is here, it really accelerates the kind of work that we can do when we need to get to that type of judgment from multiple points of view. And it also helps us get to a better definition of done when we do have a ton of critics on top of things, because of course, instead of just having that one judge that views our goal, we can have those separate personas all looking at that goal from different angles to make sure that it meets our definition of done. So in practice, that would look like this. We would have our /schedule. Every hour check project feedback, which is inside our Slack, for bug reports. The goal here, don't stop until every report found this run is triaged, actioned, and responded to. When fixing a bug, use a workflow, which is the dynamic workflows I just mentioned, to explore 3 solutions in parallel work trees and have a judge adversarially review them. To me, that is one of the most perfect use cases of bringing loops into this full circle to get all the amazing benefits of these different processes into one place. But like most things, you have to have a little bit of fun police information, because even though this thing can run forever and ever, you wouldn't want it to, especially if you're using the API. Like I said, this thing can just churn through a ton of money, especially if you've got your card set up on that thing. So use this cautiously with your clients. And more importantly, don't just YOLO this thing and say, oh yeah, run a goal for this. Think about the work that you're doing. Plan upfront as much as possible, because like everything else, the better you are in the planning phase, the better that you're going to be down the line when you're actually running the work itself. Something else that you need to take into account is managing your token consumption here. Like I said, this thing can get super hungry. So you need to make sure that you're using the right primitive and the right model for everything that you're running. Don't just use Opus for everything because it's the best. Like I said, you need to make sure that you're planning this stuff beforehand. See what you can get away with in a single run. Does it give you the output that you want? Once you get that, then you can start looking at loops and goals and having this thing run autonomously using that thing that you built your test on. Second thing to note here is that all of these things we spoke about, we obviously have our very clear definition of done, which I'm now tired of saying. But secondly, you need to make sure you define the stop criteria. For a goal, it's the number of times that this thing should retry to get the thing done. That doesn't mean it's always going to use, say, 5 of them. It's going to work, and if it finishes in 3, it will stop. But the most it will ever do is up to 5. You want to make sure you have those limits in place. The third point ties in with the first one about selecting your model, but here it is the pilot before the big run. Always run this with whatever you're going to be running it before you set it in that loop. Number 4 is a problem that a lot of people have because they just run everything through AI when it absolutely doesn't need to go through there. Use scripts where you can, because that costs absolutely no tokens whatsoever, apart from the AI obviously invoking them. But you get the point I'm making. The more deterministic work that we outsource to scripts, whether it's Python or whatever the hell it is that you need to use, the less money and tokens you're going to use over time. The great thing about this as well is that once you figure out how a workflow works, it is a repeatable process. So you don't need the AI's judgment there anymore. So you should be turning that into a script because you want it to run the same way every single time. That's what we want in business, predictability and reliability. The fifth thing here is to not overschedule. So when we're looking specifically at /loop and routines and things like that, you don't want to run this thing every 5 minutes just because you can. Think about how often a large chunk of emails come into an inbox, or how often a lead lands somewhere where you need actions taken on it. That way you can define the criteria of how often the schedule should be running, as opposed to some arbitrary number that doesn't make sense. Because remember, with Claude routines, you get a specific number of runs per day depending on the plan that you're on. And then last but not least, you need to review whatever it is that you're doing using the usage command. You can track how many tokens that you're using. But even more importantly here, you need to make sure that you're doing it, especially when you get into running those dynamic workflows, because like I said, you can run hundreds of agents and that will cost you a ridiculous amount of money. I do recommend that you go and check out my video on workflows before you dive into that, because it will show you how to actually use this thing and how to set it up properly. The TLDR here is that you want to pick the right tool, cap the work, and then watch what it's doing over time so that you never spend something you don't have to. So I hope this video was helpful. If you have any comments, leave them down below. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Otherwise, check out the videos on the screen now. They'll definitely help you in your journey. Or you can check out my community where I'm helping AI builders every single day. I'll see you guys later.